Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines, ladies and gentlemen. A backdoor regulator haunts U.S. crypto industry. We got that and so much more. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on Twitter and YouTube for exclusive content. Right now, $1.74 trillion market cap for crypto. The market is up 3.2% in the last 24. 43,400 plus for Bitcoin right now, up 12.3 on the 7-day. 2,300 plus for Ethereum, up 5.4 on the 7-day. Tether market cap 96.1 billion plus right now. XRP is 52 cents at the number 6 spot, up 0.4 on the 24-hour, up 4.5 on the 7-day. Now, very quickly, if you guys hear my nose sounds a little different or my voice sounds a little different, I had a surgery done yesterday. After I got my videos done, I went in. That's how we do it here. We can't stop working, right? Everybody needs the news and the information. We're going to make sure that you get it, no matter what. And you know what? I had to get a deviated septum corrected, so it's probably going to sound like somebody, well, I can tell you what it feels like. It feels like somebody hit me in the face with a bulldozer, but or like I walked into the ass end of a ladder. Right? But at the end of the day, it'll be good. In a couple of days, it'll go away. But until then, it's going to sound like I've got a clothespin on my nose, right? So forgive me for that, but we move on. But I tell you this, it's Miles Franklin, Precious Metals, ladies and gentlemen. The best place for physical gold. You want physical gold, this is where you want to get it right here. All you got to do is email them. Use the email underneath of this video. And in the subject box, put dig gold. Dig gold. Make sure you get the best service, best prices, no question about it, as soon as they get it. And I tell you about Glint, too. Glint Pay, baby. Buy, save, send, and spend. Real gold instantly with Glint. And that is going to be very pertinent in this video while you're hearing about those two, because we know X is constantly moving forward to make the platform a super app by integrating payments inside of the social media app Twitter, now known as X. They've just been awarded another money transmitter license in Nevada now. Things are growing quickly. I want to play this quick clip here about how Texas is proposing a gold-backed digital currency. And this is very interesting because as you listen to this, I want you to understand that it's also known that Glint Pay was mentioned on the Texas State House floor as well as a viable solution for gold as legal tender too, because Glint has made gold spendable like cash, and it's not tokenized. It doesn't need to be tokenized. They've already done it. So this is quite a thing. But take a listen to this when we move into the rest of the news here.
In early May, a bill was proposed to the Texas Senate about a new digital currency that will be backed by Texas gold. Senate Bill 2334, which is a very interesting designation, would establish a new gold and silver-based digital currency. And this would come through the Office of Texas Comptroller of Public Accounts. Each unit of this digital currency will be backed by a fraction of a troy ounce of gold or silver, which will be held in a trust, which will allow individual accounts to be created through the Texas Bullion Depository, which was established just a few years prior. This state CBDC was introduced around the same time that the Senate introduced a bill to reject the federal central bank digital currency. So in other words, Texas is looking to establish a state CBDC in lieu of a federal CBDC.
And I tell you, and I totally get why they're doing that, because we know that we don't want the Federal Reserve to be controlling a direct issuance to the citizens of this country. The Federal Reserve is not a branch of the government. It is a privately owned central bank. And we do not. First of all, that should have never been put in place the way it was put in place. That's a conversation for another day. But, this young man's got it right here, right? No question about it. And Texas is definitely on to the right path. But they're not the only ones that are moving. We're going to keep an eye on it. And speaking of, look at this from Juan Leon very quickly here. How many institutions does it take to turn on the mainstream crypto light bulb? And this is basically showing crypto adoptions by institutions and showing a long list of banks, right? They're coming, ladies and gentlemen. What we're missing, make no mistake, Everybody wants to turn it into something else, but it isn't. It's not because we need developers. It's not because we don't have enough developers. It's not because there's something wrong with the XRP ledger. It's the fact that the United States government has been suppressing XRP and Ripple through regulatory capture of a little agency known as the SEC. That's what I believe. I believe it involved Jay Clayton. I believe it involved Bill Hinman and others inside the SEC. And then it carried on over to Gary Gensler as well. He pulled his little Houdini routine and did a 180 from MIT to his current stance at the SEC now. Regulatory clarity and legislative clarity is going to set this market free. And you will see evidence of that as soon as we get that clear, defined legal clarity and laws in place. You're going to see, just like you saw the fake free pass launch thousands of projects worth billions and billions and billions of dollars off of the Ethereum network with a fake free pass. Now let's listen to a very real conversation right here. Representative French Hill and Jim Hines. Take a listen to what they have to say about crypto's future. This is very, very important.
You've touched the international financial system and done various policy-related work in that system. How do you see all of this playing out internationally? The Chinese interest in their digital yuan. The Bank of International Settlements has the mBridge project, which is trying to, innovate around the use of stablecoin for settlement and cross-border payments.
Quick reminder, mBridge is XRP Ledger is one of the prototypes or pilot projects, not prototypes, pilot projects being tested in mBridge by the BIS, and Ripple is also joined the BIS task force for cross-border payments as well.
You have the BRICS plus even talking about using digital currencies to displace the dollar. How are you thinking about the international aspects of the evolution of this technology and how even our adversaries are thinking about it?
I'll say what I said before, which is you'd much rather lead on innovation than follow, if for no other reasons than for economic reasons. And I think there's a little bit of a snowball effect. Innovation attracts innovation, and so it would be a real shame to wake up and discover that the innovation was happening in the Gulf or in Europe. And this was actually, I wrote a white paper on CBDC, which I know has become very political since. But my view on CBDC was I don't know if it's going to be appealing to that many people. But wouldn't you hate to wake up and discover that there's a sterling or a euro CBDC that everybody's using as a payment mechanism? So why not keep the work up? And so, I really hope that this is the whole reason we're doing what we're doing, to try to make sure that we don't sacrifice our traditional innovative edge. I do take a little bit of a realistic view of, there's these theses that are floated that, if there's going to be some stable coin or some payment mechanism or store of value that is going to displace the dollar, not quickly. There's lots of fundamental reasons why people keep the reserves that they do that have everything to do with the weighting of their trade. With the long-term perceptions around the dollar. I don't worry too much about the Chinese CBDC. I think we all know what that is designed to do, and I for one, am not signing up for it. So, again, I think that some of the concerns are a little bit overblown, but why would we not do what we need to do to continue to be at the forefront of innovation?
Well, I think a payment stable coin converting fiat U.S. dollars into a stablecoin that's well regulated, well considered, with a fine reputation and excellent transparency and oversight and capital standards, will be the buyer at the margin of short-term treasury bills. That's good for the dollar. It's good for international trade. It's good to go to a tokenized digital payment for a blockchain, just like we prefer to use a real-time payment in the banking system or an ACH in the banking system. And let me share, when a group of countries goes to a conclave for which their governments paid their travel expenses, and they sit around, and it's a group of companies that don't have a fully convertible currency, they don't have a rule of law, they don't have a court system, they don't have a transparent, well-regulated economy, and you tell me you want me to take their CBDC or their stable coin, count me out. Count me out. It's ridiculous. You can't go to court and get your money back in China. You can't go to court and get your money back in half the countries that were, quote, in the announcement about the BRICS.
Hello.
So I don't recommend that as a business strategy, and I don't think realistic people at the consumer level or institutional level will either. That doesn't mean, though, we don't need to be doing things that preserve the importance of the dollar as the reserve currency in the world. And one of them might be balancing the budget, for example, or having a more mature approach to our federal finance, first and foremost. And then secondly, if we maintain an excellent legal system, if we maintain the right regulatory system, if we have an open capital market, and if we have a dollar-based stablecoin, then I think that's the right direction for that long run. And then we'll see how technology evolves, right? You know, this is sort of your point about your white paper. Let's kind of see where the technology evolves. But the private sector should be the leader, and what our job is to provide the ways and means and the conditions of a fair-minded, open regulatory framework and get out of the way.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. But he does mention in there that, you know, the stable coins could really act as a buffer to any problems that you have with the dollar. I'm paraphrasing, right? But what I want to show you, if all else fails, and isn't this what I've been suggesting? That if we look at the stablecoin legislation when it finally does come out and pass, right? If they allow private issuing to a great degree from multiple different institutions, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, the PNC, this one, that one, that one, this one, they allow all of that, then you're creating a new use case to soak up the treasuries. That's what he was saying. There'll be a great new demand for U.S. treasuries. And if there's hyperinflation as a problem at the same time, this new use case of backing stablecoins will create a new demand and act like a sponge to be able to soak up these hyperinflated dollars to provide you with the proper backing of an actual stablecoin that is a dollar. Keep an eye on it. If all else fails, the plan A for setting up stablecoin rules with legislation and industry's Republican allies in Washington have revealed their worry the Federal Reserve could step in. Well, backdoor regulatory option halts the U.S. crypto. And what are they talking about? Oh, it's the same thing that Brad's been talking about for years, 2 to 3 years. FSOC, probably closer to 3 years. FSOC can tag companies with systemic risk labels that saddle them with tremendous new restrictions, and crypto sector has the council's attention. Are you hearing this with me? We have been mentioning this for 3 years. This, again, don't let a 4.5-year crypto winter change the script. We're waiting for the same thing. Now they're telling you, Congress is saying, step off FSOC. We got this. And FSOC saying, well, maybe you don't. Right? That's what we're talking about here. Look, at any time, the council could decide that one of the giants in the digital asset sphere, say stablecoin issuers such as Circle, could wound the wider financial system in the event of failure, something akin to the American International Group's role in the mortgage collapse of 2008. You see that? Motive, reasoning, justification, validation. How many times have you heard me say that they could put prudential regulation using FSOC, and certainly through Congress as well, it's obvious, and decide that stablecoin issuer Circle is the one that's going to be the retail-facing digital dollar, which has already been out here for years. It's done over $1 trillion worth of transactions, if not $3 trillion. I can't remember the number, but it's in the trillions. This is how the United States could potentially be leading this innovation race in the shadows without anyone actually realizing it. UST Tether has partnered with the FBI and the Secret Service. That may not go away. That may just get put under prudential regulation as well. Or maybe they force it to push it push the volume and everything else into stablecoins of Circle? I don't know. But if you have that kind of demand for U.S. Treasury bonds, and you know hyperinflation is a very real possibility in the future, you may want to have as many stable coins that are under prudential regulation as possible to act as a sponge for these treasuries and hyperinflated dollars. Because cross-border payment using UAE Digital Currency has started. And basically, in the amount of 500 million dirham sent to China, they're saying the U.S. dollar is on its way out, calling it a death currency. XRP is a global bridge currency, and basically suggesting here that the UAE achieves a groundbreaking feat in this digital finance by executing its first cross-border payments using digital dirham, this landmark transaction conducted on the mBridge platform. And I've already reminded you that XRP Ledger is one of the pilots of mBridge, if not the pilot. Right? It's at least one, if not the. The dollar's reign as the world reserve currency is nearly over, says Dick Bove. Dick Bove here making the comments, newly retired bank analyst, blamed corporate offshoring and flagged the threat posed by China with the digital yuan and everything they've been doing, working with BRICS and the coalition. But we have to be concerned about a bigger issue. It's Project Sandman, which is more than 100 nations around the world, in fact, agreeing that they want to simultaneously, at some point in the future, dump the U.S. dollar and the bonds. That's what Project Sandman is about. It is literally about dumping the dollar simultaneously, going to their local currencies, and eventually graduating to a BRICS currency backed by gold. That's the plan. But listen to hear the Echo X lay it down for us all.
What is Project Sandman?
Project Sandman is a coordinated attack planned by the BRICS countries on the United States. The kill shot is going to include a coordinated sell-off of at least $2+ trillion in treasuries, which will collapse the United States debt market, followed by the stock market shortly thereafter. Wow. These events will freeze the U.S. economy and obliterate the value of all fiat U.S. dollar-denominated assets. Most of the trigger conditions for Sandman trigger have already been met. One of them was the petrodollar abdication, basically Saudi Arabia no longer requiring the dollar for to buy oil. Another one is basically tensions between the United States and Russia and China. With the outstanding requirement would be an operational BRICS reserve currency. Basically, once the BRICS reserve currency comes online, then all of these things get met, and all these treasuries come back to the United States, and it happens like on a Sunday night, and then Monday morning, our way of life as we know it is over.
And, you know, look, I mean, I don't want to see some moment like that take place, right? And maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't unfold that way. One of the things we have to be careful of here is that regardless of the hype of a situation like this taking place in the future, and we can't take it off the table, here's the other thing to think about. Currently, right now, those 100+ nations, the majority of them, the best thing that they have in their portfolio is U.S. Treasuries. Sorry about that. I've been having mic issues the last few days, and I don't know what the hell. I got gremlins in here inside my computer here. But it starts right now. We're going into the Freedom Zone. We're going to continue this conversation about BRICS a little further in here. And Christine Lagarde as well. And I will explain it in the Freedom Zone. It's not financial advice from me or anyone else. Join us at digperspectives.com in the Freedom Zone. Come on in.